Hello everybody, my name is Dwayne Blais. In this next video, we're gonna take a look at some progressions for your inside and outside edge. When we think of skating, no matter what the skill is, whether it's crossing over, pivoting, transitioning, anything, our skates are obviously important, but our inside and outside edge are huge. So the better control we have on our inside-outside edges, the better skater we're gonna become. There's no doubt about that. But at young ages, inside and outside edge work is really hard. It's hard to hold an edge. What I mean by holding an edge is getting on an inside edge here or an outside edge. It's really hard to stay on those edges. So for young players, getting them comfortable on their edges is huge. And the best way to do that is just starting off really, really simple. First of all, explaining what those edges are, so inside and outside edge, but then also having them feel those edges a little bit as they're skating on the ice. So an easy way to do it is once you've identified your inside edges on the inside and your outside edge is on the outside, which I think that's an important question to ask almost every second or third time you're on the ice with kids so they remember. But even just having them do something simple, like just going side to side on the ice. So once they can start skating and start moving, just having them move side to side. So again, now they're gone, they're inside edge and outside edge. So if you see as I come in here, I'm on my outside edge on this foot, my inside edge on this foot, and same thing, I'll switch over on this side, nice and easy. Now for most players, especially young kids, they'll do this, right? Which is totally fine at the beginning. So that means they're riding their inside edges the whole time, right? And one thing when we're working with young players and as they're going up or just starting out to get good at edging or just starting out with their edges, right? You wanna make sure that they keep their weight on the ball of their foot. Many times they'll have players on their heels, and that's gonna make it difficult for side stopping, turning, gliding, anything. So I wanna stay on the ball of our feet. So again, going back to that hockey player position, we're on the ball of our feet. And as we come through here, we're just shifting our weight from side to side, side to side, side to side. With, again, young players, or anybody just beginning, just even having them just standing straight like this and just moving around in a circle like that and just pushing on their inside edge. So really simple, but just having them work that inside edge and understand that feeling of pushing off that inside edge, whether they're going one way or the other way, but using both feet. As we talk about inside, outside edge, the outside edge is always the hardest edge. So having players begin on their inside edge and getting comfortable is gonna help them with their outside edge, but we always wanna hammer the outside edge as well. So making sure we're working on both inside and outside edges. But having players, especially young kids, just trying to hold that inside edge as they're coming down the ice. So really simple, just holding that inside edge as they're coming down the ice, nice and easy, right? Then we're gonna add that outside edge. So for young players, a lot of times they'll end up just doing this, not being able to hold it, which is totally fine. But ideally what we like them to get to is just a little bit of a hold here on that outside edge. They can get set, a little bit of a hold on that outside edge. And the easy way to tell players how to do this or help them with it is getting their head, shoulders, and then their body moving that way. So if I want to turn this way, I'm gonna come in and glide, and my head, shoulders, and my body's gonna try to take me that way. And then as we progress through with young kids, you can always add cones or use the lines. And we've done drills like this before, but just keeping it really simple and keeping it shallow. So what I mean by shallow is it's an easy turn to come in off here and glide on inside edge here and inside edge here. If I pull this cone out too far like that, now what's gonna happen is now it's a hard turn and a hard turn here, which makes it more difficult on young players. So keeping it a little bit more shallow so it's an easier turn is a lot better. And when you get to outside edges, just giving players enough room, because the outside edge is gonna hold a little bit longer. So as they're coming in here, you're gonna have to hold it a little bit longer to get around, a little bit longer here to get around. So just being aware that obviously players are gonna struggle with their outside edge much more. And as they get going and as they're working on it, it's gonna get better and better, but it's a difficult edge to hold. Even having players come up to the line and just holding that edge along the line. So coming in like this, holding that edge at the blue line, and then coming back down for the next line or the next pylon or whatever that is. But as much as you can as a coach, trying to get players to work on feet independently and then getting into glide turns. So if they're working on one edge, then the other edge, then we're gonna put them together and use that outside edge and inside edge to work on glides and tight turns and all that kind of stuff. But ideally, getting them to work independently with their inside edge and their outside edge. It's really important that young players understand what their edges are, number one, and that they're able to work on them independently. It's frustrating as coaches because it's really, really hard for young players to hold an edge. When, again, what I mean by holding an edge is staying on that edge. But the more they work on one foot inside edge, outside edge, and then the other foot, inside edge, outside edge, the more comfortable they're gonna become and the better they're gonna be on their edges. And again, the goal here is to make players better. And if they do get better on their edges, they're gonna be a better skater overall.